The Druid in Diablo 4 is notorious for being hard to level up. A lot of people find it clunky and not that user friendly, but I believe that I found a build that can actually do it very well. So in today's video, we are going to be covering the Tornado Druid full leveling guide. This is going to be covering everything you need to know from the skills to the renown to the gear and even the aspects that you need as well. So let's jump into things, and if you guys find this video useful, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'm only one guy, it really helps my channel out. So let's jump straight in and talk about the pros and cons so you can figure out if this build is actually right for you before you waste all the time leveling it. And so let's start off with the pros, and the first one is that it is technically a ranged character. You're sending out a bunch of tornadoes, they're going to do their thing, so you're not at the mercy of being a melee combat character. And in Diablo 4 right now, melee isn't in that strong of a position. There's a lot of things that can really screw over melee characters, so with this one you're not at the mercy of that. Next up, it's extremely tanky. Being able to be this tanky while also putting out the insane amount of damage that this build can do is such a benefit. So if you're like me and you stand in a lot of stupid things because you're just not really paying attention, it's not really going to affect you as much. Next up, its damage uptime is actually fairly large. Sometimes with builds, being able to have a lot of consistent damage output is really tough, but this build is actually really good at it. And lastly, it is very beginner friendly in terms of its easiness to understand. It's a very simple, straightforward build. You're just throwing tornadoes at people. It's not really that hard. But that's our pros covered, so now let's get into the cons. And first up, low mobility. You're not a rogue, you're a druid. You're not going to be jumping all over the place, so it is to be expected that there is going to be low mobility, but I do have to put it on here to make sure that people do understand that. Now next up, you don't have the best single target damage. Towards the end game, you will actually start to be able to have insane amounts of single target damage, but while you're leveling, it's not going to be the best, so you will struggle on some bosses, but for the most part, you're not really going to be struggling that much. Now next up, the tornadoes are somewhat hard to aim. It was the same thing all the way back in D2, you kind of had to place yourself right next to the target if you wanted to actually hit your tornado, but thankfully there is an aspect that you can get in the game that does make your tornadoes seek out enemies, so that will be fixed along the way. And the last con is that the spirit management is a little bit tricky. Now personally, I don't really know a leveling build that doesn't have really tricky resource management at the start, but I do feel like I have to put it on here so that people are aware that it is going to be a little bit intensive in the first little bit. But now you know the pros and the cons, and if you still want to get started with this, let's actually get you some leveling skills and get you actually out in the world killing stuff. So to start off with, we have to get you obviously a basic skill to unlock the first couple points. This is going to be levels 2 through 3, and for this we are going to be using Storm Strike. Now this one is a melee skill, but it's going to be generating spirit extremely reliably, so it's going to be a really solid trade-off. So at level 2, take Storm Strike, and then level 3, take Enhanced Storm Strike. But now going forward, we can actually unlock Tornado, and this is going to be the actual center of the build. This is what everything's going to be relying on. This is going to be levels 4 through 7. So at level 4, take Tornado, level 5, Enhanced Tornado, level 6, Raging Tornado, and level 7, Fierce Storm Strike. Now I will warn you guys right here, tornadoes do path in semi-random directions, so while you don't have the seeking aspect, it's best to get as close to your target as you possibly can. I did say that it was ranged, but for right now you're going to be in melee distance to kind of help you out. Later on that will change though. But now going forward, we can start to add in some defensive layers to help you be somewhat tanky and also get you a little bit more damage. This is going to be levels 8 through 17. So at levels 8, 9, 10, and 11, just pump Tornado. Level 12, take Earthen Bulwark. Level 13, take Enhanced Earthen Bulwark. Level 14, 15, and 16, Nature's Reach. And then level 17, take Wolves. And a quick side note here, guys, once you do reach level 14, you are going to be putting your first point into Nature's Reach. And once you do get that, then you are going to want to change from Raging Tornado to Primal Tornado. Now going forward, we can actually start to unlock a little bit of mobility and more damage. Now on a super immobile class like the Druid, any little form of mobility is going to be very welcome, so we are going to be picking your only mobility skill up right now. And this is going to be levels 18 through 21. So at level 18, take Trample, that is going to be your mobility skill. Level 19, take Hurricane. Level 20, Enhanced Hurricane, and then level 21, Natural Hurricane. And then after that, we can start to actually get some key passive points going. So this is going to be levels 22 through 35. So level 22, 23, and 24 take Elemental Exposure. Level 25, 26, and 27, Defiance. Level 28, 29, and 30, Circle of Life. Level 31, 32, and 33, Resonance. Level 34, Heart of the Wild, and then level 35, Perfect Storm. And then after that, you are rounding the bend. You're almost done, so let's tie everything together in a nice little bow. So this is going to be levels 36 through 49. So level 36, 37, and 38 take Wild Impulses. Level 39, 40, and 41, Abundance. Level 42, Preserving Earthen Bulwark. Level 43, Enhanced Wolf Pack. Level 44, Ferocious Wolf Pack. Level 45, 46, and 47, Endless Tempest. And then level 48 and 49, Defensive Posture. And then once you reach level 50, that's going to be your Paragon point starting, and that's your mid-game build, and your leveling is technically done. Now, as you level up, or if this is your second character, you're going to be getting Renown to spend. There's going to be 10 skill points in total. And as you get these skill points, you can put them into the skills we have highlighted above. But once you reach the end of the leveling process at level 49, you're going to have 10 extra skill points that you are going to be able to spend. So here's what you're going to be wanting to put those into. For your first Renown, put that into Defensive Posture. For Renowns 2, 3, and 4, go into Nature's Resolve. Renowns 5, 6, and 7 go into Predatory Instinct. And then 8, 9, and 10 go into Unrestrained. But that's not technically it for all of your skill points, because there are still the Druid Spirit boons. Now these are going to be unlocked once you reach level 15, and you will have to complete a short quest line starting in Turdurla in Skosklen. I probably butchered that name, I'm sorry. And to gain access to this quest, you will have to defeat the Stronghold of Evil that has overrun the place, but you will receive 25 Druidic Spirit offerings to unlock your first boon when you do complete the quest line. So over time, you will be unlocking more and more of these Druidic Spirit offerings, so let's talk about the boon progression. For the first 25 offerings, they're going to go into the Eagle Spirit to activate Scythe Talons. Then you're going to collect 50 more of these to unlock the first 2 boons of the Wolf Spirit, and you will get Energize. Then next you want to save up to 75 to unlock Wariness from the Deer Spirit. Now there is no helpful one in the Snake Spirit, so you won't really have to focus on that one, but wait until you have collected 250 of the Spirit offerings, and then you can unlock the remaining Spirit boons. Then you're going to want to bond with the Eagle Spirit and activate Swooping Talons. But that is it for our skills, we're done, so now let's actually get you some gear to beef you up and really help you on your way. And while you are leveling up, having a set kind of gear progression is not going to be possible. You're going to be changing stuff so often. Usually if a piece of armor or equipment has a green arrow on it, it is going to be an upgrade for you. Still, there are some stats you are going to be wanting to keep an eye out for, so don't worry, we've got you covered. So first up, let's talk about the weapons. And for your two-handed weapon, you are going to be looking for the highest DPS weapon available for more damage. You're also going to prefer staves, and you're going to be keeping an eye out for the core skill damage stat and also the vulnerable damage stat. But now we can move into the armor, and there's only really going to be defensive stats on these. The only thing that actually gets any offensive stats is going to be your gloves. So for your helmet, keep an eye out for life, cooldown reduction, skill ranks, and willpower. Your armor, keep an eye out for life, willpower, and armor. For your gloves, plus ranks to tornado, attack speed, and critical strike chance. Your pants, life, damage reduction from distant or close enemies, willpower, and armor. And your boots, keep an eye out for movement speed, spirit cost reduction, and willpower. Now let's move into the jewelry, and this is actually where you're going to be getting most of your powerful offensive stats from. So actually do pay attention to the rolls on these, because higher level pieces aren't always going to be an upgrade. The stats that you're actually looking for are always going to be a better option here. So for your amulet, look for spirit cost reduction, damage, movement speed, and skill ranks. And then for your rings, look for critical strike chance, damage to slowed enemies, and physical damage. Now also, it is going to be a little bit of a trap because people are going to want to upgrade their armor and weapons and stuff while leveling, but don't do that. You're going to be replacing it way too often. It's not worth it. The only thing that you should be looking to upgrade at the blacksmith is your two-handed weapon. And if you guys are lucky enough to come across some sockets while leveling, you can throw some rubies in your armor, some skulls in your jewelry, and sapphires in your weapon. But now we've reached the really fun part, and it's going to be the Codex of Power to get you some actual aspects. Now these are going to be the top ones you're going to be wanting to look for while you are leveling, and they are going to be going in order of priority. So first off, we've got the resource aspect of the Umbral. This makes it so you restore 1 to 4 of your primary resource when you crowd control an enemy. And you are going to be crowd controlling very often, so this is a great resource to have. Now this is found in the Champion's Demise dungeon in the Dry Steppes. Next up, we have the rapid offensive aspect. This makes it so basic skills gain 15 to 30% attack speed. You are going to be using your basic skill quite a lot, so you can generate resources in order to cast your tornadoes, so this is going to be a very big help for you. This is found in the Buried Halls in the Dry Steppes. Next up, we have the Shepherd's offensive aspect. This makes it so core skills deal an additional 6 to 8% damage for each active companion. You're going to have a decent amount of companions up, it's going to make your skills do more damage, it's very straightforward. This is found in the Blood-Soaked Crag in Dry Steppes. And next up we have the defensive aspect of Mending Stone. This makes it so the duration of Earthen Bulwark is increased by 6 seconds. In addition, killing an enemy with Earth skills replenishes 2 to 907 of your active Earthen Bulwark's barrier. This just makes it so you're more tanky, and tankiness is always welcome, especially when leveling, because sometimes you don't want to get one shot by a boss. It's gonna happen. So if you can have any more tanky stats, they're always helpful. And this one can be found in the sealed archives in Dry Steppes. And the last main one is the Edge Master's offensive aspect. This makes it so your skills deal up to 10 to 20% increased damage based on your available primary resource when cast, receiving the maximum benefit while you have full primary resource. This is just a very basic, well-rounded skill to make you do more damage when you have more of your resources up. I think a lot of builds use it for a very good reason. It's just a great aspect, and you can find this in the Old Stones dungeon in Skosglen. Now do keep in mind when you are imprinting these onto different pieces of gear, do not imprint your weapons at all. They're going to be changing way too often. Put any offensive aspects on your amulet, rings, or gloves because those are going to be changed a lot less often. Those ones you actually care about the stats, so once you find a good one with the stats you need, it's not really going to change for a long time, meaning you don't have to keep wasting time going back and forth between the occultists. Now those are the main ones that you're going to be keeping an eye out for and also trying to target the dungeons for, but there are a few other helpful ones to really boost your power level if you do happen to find them while leveling. So starting off, the first one is the Storm Chaser's offensive aspect. This makes it so that tornadoes will seek up to 1 to 3 enemy targets. This is an absolute jackpot for your build, because this is going to make it so you don't actually have to aim your tornadoes anymore. This makes it so that they're going to seek out the enemies and actually do the thing themselves. So you don't really have to aim anymore. It's just a really strong power upgrade for you. Next up, we have the Accelerating offensive aspect. This makes it so your critical strikes with core skills increase your attack speed by 15 to 25% for 5 seconds. With the high area of effect damage that Tornado provides, you are going to be proccing this very often, and that's going to allow you to generate and spend your spirit much quicker, increasing your damage output drastically. Now the next one is the Conceited offensive aspect. This makes it so you deal 15 to 25% increased damage while you have a barrier active. This bounces off both Earthen Bulwark and the defensive aspect of Mending Stone because they're both going to be granting you barriers, and when you have a barrier up, you're going to be doing more damage. More damage plus more tankiness, always great. And the last one is the offensive aspect of the Expectant. This makes it so attacking enemies with a basic skill increases the damage of your next core skill cast by 5 to 10% up to 30%. And because Tornado does have a high cost of spirit, you are going to be casting your basic skills quite a few times before you actually can attack. This then bounces off the aspect, giving you a nice damage boost to your Tornado when you actually do cast it. So you can see how all of these bounce off of each other. And this one actually can be found in a dungeon. It's found in the Underroot in Skosglen. But let me know which build I should cover next in the comments down below. And if you guys found this video useful and want to help my channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.